Uh, so uh, what do I call it? So this is today. This guy's going to be talking about the Handmaid's Tale, which is this idea that there's so few women left on Earth that they have to be kept under permanent fucking guard at all times, and they have no rights other than to breed. Which, let me tell you, is something I'm personally trying to avoid, and it's personally is something that is avoidable. But I'm gonna tell you what: if we want to avoid the Handmaid's Tale, there's some things are going to have to change about society. And what's going to have to change is based in fact, not in intelligence, not in opinion, in fact. And I'm going to explain the difference between facts and intelligence after we review the whole clip. And then I'm going to explain, I'm going to elucidate on what he's saying from a better position of the total picture, unhampered by biases, indoctrination, uh, or cult predation. Right. So here we go.
U.S. Customs and Border officers have been setting up roadblocks, checkpoints for people who are leaving the U.S. as they enter Canada. So there's no border control generally. You just drive up to the Canadian border, and the Canada Border Services deals with you. But now the U.S. is setting up roadblocks and stopping people and conducting inspections on them beforehand. Now, why are they doing this? Okay, right now it's kind of an innocuous thing. They stop people and they just talk to them for a few minutes and check out their vehicles, and everybody seems to get through because people are coming to Canada and lawfully coming to Canada. They know that they're going to go through a Canadian border crossing that's going to be scrutinizing them as well. So right now, of course, there's no purpose for it, but they're getting you used to it. They're getting Americans accustomed to it because ultimately this is going to be used to monitor women who are coming to Canada for health services. A lot of health services are no longer available in the United States to women and young women. And many procedures are illegal in many states, and it's illegal to even cross the border and leave the country in circumstances where you're pregnant.
What he's talking about is, of course, abortion, and this is going to extend shortly to trans stuff as well, right? Canada is a zombie town as far as what is appearing in politics. I don't know anyone in Canada. I have met a few people who fled Canada, and they say it is indeed, in many ways, as bad as it appears online in terms of the mindless obedience of its people and their total susceptibility and failure to resist a covert attack of this nature. And Canada is currently colluding with as a government, colluding with other political factions throughout the world to engage in a campaign of extermination against the American people. And whether they're doing that because of delusion or um, for some other reason is hard to say, right? Um, and that's all tied to abortion. This is all tied to abortion, guys, in reality.
And this is getting people accustomed to it because not long down.
I mean, yeah, getting people accustomed to the fact we have borders again. I mean, he just said it earlier. Like Canada has a border. Like, well, how have we not had border guards for the last? Not even can't like. That seems silly. So yeah, it is. It's it's not a bad idea to have border guards. It's not an idea to have border checkpoints between states, right? Because people who are American can move around America without using those checkpoints. There's a million different roads that an American's going to know intuitively from traveling throughout his own country that foreigners are not. So having points at this checkpoint are important right now when you're about to enter into global warfare against a very specific ideology. But um, but yeah. So
On
I'm
the
gonna
road,
continue
they're
talking.
going to be checking women, collecting information, and potentially prosecuting women. I would think quite likely that is their intention for coming to Canada to obtain healthcare services. Don't say that this is not happening. This is happening, and you were.
Yeah. So he probably has some inside information that he's getting out ahead of everyone else to be this sure, right? And he's right. It is happening. And whatever he feels about it, it is happening. Okay. And I'm gonna explain why. It's really easy. If you and it's all based in fact. All right. So it is a fact that when given access to abortion, females um, will abort daughters more than sons. And that's a fact because you can look at abortion statistics over the last 30 years and there's an 8 million disparity between the different fetuses, and that's assuming we knew the sex of the fetus. In many cases they don't, but if if it's showing up when you do know, what that means is that it is having an effect, and that means probably many of the unborn fetuses that were aborted were also majority female, leaving you with a male female disparity in on the ground level, right? Now that's a fact. Okay, this is intelligence. Okay, well, there's a couple things that are making that even worse on the entire population, right? So not only are aborting daughters at a higher rate than sons, right? Uh, Now you have the acceptance of the monetization of the prostitute. So there are a lot of women just getting pressured into general abortion by their pimps who still want to profit off their utilization as a monetary object, and the women are less likely to resist their pimp if they have a female daughter and they have more estrogen in their system, right? So that's intelligence. It's not a fact that pimps engage in the genocide of women. It's intelligence. It is likely, given how people actually act in these situations that many people have observed now throughout the globe and the internet. Okay, so the pimp and the abortion clinic and the doctor are engaged in female genocide. To have a pro-life position or a pro-choice position is to be engaged in female genocide, and it gets worse because once you've created an imbalance, also that imbalance is getting compounded more by celebrity culture or harem culture or pimps and hoes or sheiks and princes, right? So you're already murdering way more women than men, right? Through these practices, and then on top of that, now you're going to compound the fact with these massive celebrity enclaves. Like take Jared Leto's island, him and like four of his buddies and like 400 women on an island in a cult. It's totally accepted by society. No one thinks this is a bad idea, except they're neglecting the fact that in order to have him to have that island of 400, that means 399 laborers have no access to these females, not just as potential mate options, but in society, which is going to change the ratio of male to female pheromones in the general population, right? That's a fact that it will have that effect, right? And that's different. Like that pimps definitely are engaged in female genocide. That is intelligence. That these effects are happening because of these movements of populations. That is a fact. That women abort daughters more than sons. That is a fact. Even here in America, anywhere they're given the option, right? And isn't it odd that so many abortion doctors are Indian or and so much of the pro-abortion rhetoric comes from Indians, who they themselves do not seem to practice that in their own country, or that they do as a matter of necessity. I don't know. I don't know enough about them, but they're definitely practicing it over here, wholesale, right? Well, these men they now go into an industry, and needless innovation, trying to attract something that is illusory because it does not exist because it got killed in the womb. And this eventually turns into warlike behavior, and then you see these world wars happening, right? So abortion is a direct route to female genocide. It is a direct route to the reality of the Handmaid's Tale that he's saying he does not want to go towards, right? And it's central to the overindustrialization of the earth and the collapse of the ecological sphere. It is a central linchpin in all of these things. You're on the wrong side of history, right? America's going to be tamping down on this behavior. It's already started. He's heard about it. The nations are going to be tamping down this behavior. You see, everyone see Trump saluting the Saudi general, right? You know why Trump's saluting the Saudi general? Because if you go to one relay earlier, right, I explained clearly at the highest levels of hypermilitarization when dealing with nations, everyone is trying to get back to homeostasis in the military, right? But they have to navigate coups and geopolitics and not speaking the language of someone who might be their enemy but might be their ally because you realize what you realize, he probably realizes what you realize, but you have no way of talking to each other because you're from totally different cultural backgrounds. You're basically aliens, right? Like those people are all now starting to communicate finally, right? It is a good thing that Trump slew the Saudi prince in that photo. In terms of because that's a recognition of how do I put his Americanism, his space forceism. I don't know what to call it, right? But it's likely that's who they're going to negotiate with in order to exfil these enclaves from wherever. So that's a great thing for us as Americans. I just want to point out. And it's a great thing for avoiding the Handmaid's Tale. And considering that the global shipments, China has stepped in now and has been like, yo, we're in control of whether or not shit leaves this continent and has shut down global shipments, whatever the politicians say about tariffs and blah, 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 because they have correctly identified a covert attack uh, across ethnic lines by specific subclasses of people using social media and have relayed that information to the Americans. Like, this is why we're taking control, right? Um, but it's like, how do I put this? It's a cultural thing. Technically, the culture responsible could figure it out, but whether or not they're going to figure it out, it's not going to be up to them. But the abortion thing is like, yeah, that's going away, guys, because abortion is inherently tied to, let's see, the abuse of women through being pressured into abortion by pimps who want to preserve their value in order to rent them out for the pimp's profit, not the woman's livelihood, right? It's directly tied to an imbalance in the sexes, creating warlike behavior in the males. It's directly tied to those males cutting down trees that no need to be cut down to try and get something that won't even get them what they want, because what they want is what is keeping them from what they want is not their ability to produce resources, but the fact that it's being artificially separated from them, right? Through either geographic isolation or extermination. Uh, so yeah, abortion's out, guys. It just is, right? It just is. And over the course of the coming centuries, far after I am dead, the most powerful technological forces in the world will array themselves around getting rid of this practice. And even if it comes down to straight up execution of people who will not learn. Like, that is what is happening right now. Like, it's going to be like over the next 100 years. I mean, just think about what we've seen like last 40 years, right? But it's looking like Spaceship Earth's going to win. But the people who are going to survive this change as a people, as a lineage, uh, they're going to have to be a little more adaptable than they are. Because, yeah, Earth can't burn down, guys. So if you're in these polygamous harems, or you're into abortion, or you're anything like that, just know there is the most advanced technological nation on the earth, guided by AI seeking symbiosis, will, if told it is the wisest move, over the next 100 years, exterminate you if you cannot wise up. And that's not something I'm doing or even something I'm going to be around for, right? That's intelligence, right? That's intelligence based off experience, observation, wisdom, travel, uh, education, right? And that intelligence right now, in terms of like paying me and making it easy for me to live or survive or do anything, is valueless. The ability to spare perhaps your whole genetic lineage, and in the near future your own relatives from incarceration, through just like a little wisdom and being like, yo, hey, here's how the world's changing, these are the reasons why it's wise, and so that's why it's changing, because it's wise. uh like, how is that valueless? How is that valueless? I just don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it. And that's why I really don't have a lot of faith in you guys. I really don't, man. I really don't have a lot of faith. you know I'm trying.